All right, guys. So you guys have been asking for this training for a while. So this is the open wallet training. And really, this is just the foundation for financial objections. I'll go further into different objections and the methodology, but this one skill set, this one word track, this one tool set has helped me close so many more deals that I wouldn't have closed over the years. It can help you get some real clarity. Now, this is all predicated on that you had a decent call, you were a decent human being, you built real rapport, you connected with them, you really got discovery, you understood their problems, and they felt like you're genuinely trying to help them with their problems, not just pitch a product, right? So let's dive right in. And I think this is going to be really, really helpful for you guys. So when it comes to money objections, really there are two versions of money objections. There's probably way more, but if we had to just boil it down into two to keep it simple, one is logistical, and the other one is fear, smokescreen, uncertainty. So logistics is this person has all the money to be able to actually do it. Maybe it's in different accounts, different places, credit, savings, checkings, cash flow timing. Maybe there's something going on logistically where they have to figure out how to put the puzzle together to be able to get into your program. So it's not so much they can't afford it, but maybe they need help with figuring out how to piece the puzzle together of the financial puzzle to get creative, to make it happen right here, right now, whether that's some sort of bank block on their debit card, whether that's they're a business and they have tight cash flow right now, but they're going to be paid out a huge amount in a week. There's all kinds of different situations, but that's logistics. Fear is this person has all the cash they could need to do it, but they're just a little bit scared of either one, investing in general. Maybe they believe that this is the right thing, but they're just scared of investing. Or they actually don't think that what you offer is going to help them, and they're just giving you this objection to get off the call, and they're not actually bought in on the process and the method. So those are the two key types of money objections. Now, we'll get into the scripting here. And before that, I just want to get you guys kind of like my thoughts and the framework. So first things first with any objection really is to diffuse and isolate. I want to make sure that I pull the pressure out of the conversation so it feels just not salesy, right? I want it to feel authentic and natural. So whenever someone gives me an objection or concern, I want to acknowledge them, appreciate them for sharing it. Hey, appreciate you being open and real with me. Can totally get that the money could be a concern, like no issue at all, no stress, versus like being combative and punching back, right? So that's diffusing. Isolating is making sure, is this concern the real concern and the only concern, right? Is it the real concern? And is it the only concern? If we can get those solved and clarified, then we know that we're actually going to be unpacking and clarifying the right concern rather than going down a rabbit hole and wasting time. So once we can isolate it, then I want to ask for permission usually to explore further, unpack it further, and come up with a solution. Essentially, when I ask for permission, I'm trying to get on the same side of the table as somebody so they feel like I'm on their team rather than like an opposing force, right? Unpacking and clarifying, that's really just, asking questions, seeing if this thing, we can move it, if we can't move it, if it's able to be overcome, this concern, if it's not. And then once we find if it is, then we can offer a solution and a next step, right? So two key thoughts before we actually go into the sample scripting. This is just from a principles perspective. Before handling a money objection, I need to know that somebody is sold. That doesn't mean that I believe they're going to buy my program today. That means I'm convinced that they're convinced that what I offer is really, their best possible option to get to their outcome. Like, I don't need them to think that they're guaranteed to get the result because nothing's guaranteed in life, but I need them to believe that this option makes sense. It's a viable option, and it's in their mind, most likely it's really there's no better alternative, no better path, right? And when those things check off, when I have the certainty that they believe what I'm offering is going to get them where they want to go, it's the best possible solution, they don't have a better alternative, that's what I mean by sold. They might still not buy. They could still have fear, or who knows what the situation is. But before I actually unpack and get into their financials to try to present a solution to overcome the money objection, I need to have the confirmation they feel good, right? Second principle here is a lot of people will offer financial payment plans like right out of the gate as like an option close, like, hey, the investment is 9K in full, or it's 10K on a payment plan. What works best for you? I prefer not to give an option close, because then immediately I'm putting myself in a position where I've already given away my payment plans. So I've already given away that power without any reason to. Maybe they could have paid in full. And one moment here. And what I found best is that if I can actually get their financial picture first, then I can present a solution that actually makes the most sense, and possibly get them to pay in full rather than do some crappy payment plan. Like, oftentimes there's a way, but we have to get total clarity, right? So how do we do this, right? How do we get someone to open their wallet metaphorically and actually tell us straight up how much cash they have, how much credit they have, what's going on? Well, it comes down to a few things. First off is your intention has to be perceived as truly, genuinely trying to help, right? It has to appeal to their self-interest. It has to feel like you're there to serve them and support them and help them get to their outcome. If they feel that you are just trying to close them, there will be a ton of pushback, right? When you see this script, you might think to yourself, oh my God, this is pretty invasive, right? And these are very direct questions. And with the right permission, with the right intention, with the right context, and genuinely caring for your people, I really haven't gotten that much pushback over the years. And I've gotten people to literally tell me their financial picture. So let's dive right in. Prospect says something along the lines of like, oh my gosh, that's a ton of money. It's way too expensive. It's, whatever kind of financial concern. First things first is we're going to want to diffuse, isolate, and get permission. So this is just a sample script, guys. And remember, we are not robots, but I want to give you the generic framework that I've seen work really well in my calls. So first things first, totally hear you on that, John. Like no stress at all. Like, appreciate you sharing that. Diffuse. So we want to pull the pressure out of the conversation, because when someone gives an objection, they're expecting the salesperson to fight back. So we want to actually slow down the cadence. And for two reasons: one, for them, and two, for us, because where most salespeople go wrong is right when they get resistance here, they speed up, they get stressed, their nervous system, their heart rate increases, their palms get sweaty, and essentially their ability to access their prefrontal cortex goes to crap, and they're in fight or flight themselves, which, as you can imagine, causes fight or flight in the prospect. And now we're not even really communicating. We're both just scared, and there's no leadership anymore. So staying grounded here is super, super important. And if you struggle to stay grounded in these, come to my sales training calls on Wednesday so that we can actually rehearse and get you reps and also practice with people in the community. Side note, let's move back in. So just curious, John, thanks for sharing that. Other than the actual funding that we covered, is there anything else that would keep you less than like 100% all in, that this is what you want to do? This question is critical. I'm isolating. I'm doing two things. I'm isolating, but I'm also checking for certainty. Their response and the tone of their response is going to tell me everything I need to hear and everything I need to know. Because if they just say, yeah, but they're kind of hemming and hawing, we know there's something wrong and there's a lack of certainty. They're like that there's something else going on. So we need to unpack that. If they say, oh yeah, for sure, dude, like, Mason, I know this is exactly what I need. This is what I want. it's just a lot of money. That's a positive response, right? So let's look at both cases. One is the positive response first. So if we get the positive response, I'd be like, cool, man. So in other words, it sounds like this isn't a case of like, should I do it? Right? Where you're on the fence, kind of thinking, is this for me? Or like some sort of hesitation there. It's like, there's none of that. It's really just more of like a how/when. Is that right? And I swear to you guys, every time I've used this, like, people feel so heard and understood. They go, oh my God, that's totally it. And we go, ding, 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 ding. Boom. This person really wants to do it. But in their mind, it's just a logistics thing where they need to figure out the how/when. Are the logistics possible? I don't know. Maybe this person has the money. Maybe they don't. But at least we have them on the same side of the table and we can start to unpack it. Great. So once we have that tie down, right, where they feel heard and understood, then we're going to go into third piece right here, which is getting permission, right? I want to get buy-in that they're okay with having an honest, open conversation around the finances. So this is in the situation where they were totally good to go. They felt like, yes, this is the right thing. It's not a case of should I do it? It's really just a how/when. They're like, cool, I appreciate you sharing that, man, and definitely want to help if we can. That being said, John, would you be open to having just an honest real conversation around the financials just to see in a best case if there's a way where we could really help you make this work. And even in like a worst case scenario, like we could have a game plan to work towards, even if that means getting started, like a little bit later down the road. Is that cool with you? Usually they're going to comply with this. And the reason being is like you're showing that you're there to help them, and you're even giving them an option that, hey, like this might not work right now, but like let's figure out a game plan. So even if you can't start today, you can get started down the road, which shows that you're genuinely there for their self-interest. Now, don't say this if you don't mean it, right? But when you genuinely mean it, people will feel your intent, and they're going to be more compliant and more open with you and actually give you the real picture of their finances. So then we transition into painting that financial picture and unpacking it. Cool, John. Totally appreciate you being real with me. So there are a couple ways, I've helped some of my students in the past, and really it's all like customized. Like nothing we do is like super cookie cutter. So cool if we just kind of dive right in on that. They go, yeah. Okay, cool. So first thing would just be like cash on hand. Do you know checking, savings, just ballpark where you're at right now? Okay, cool. And so like on a monthly basis, like what are your bills currently? Are they super high, super low? Like where are you at the moment? Okay. So that would be this first piece where basically I'm getting checking, savings, essentially what is their cash on hand? I'm straight up asking them how much money they have. And you may get some pushback on this. Whoa, that's kind of Mason, I didn't expect that. Yeah, I totally hear you. Appreciate you sharing that. I guess, is it something that you'd be totally closed off to if it means we could actually find a solution? Because it's totally your journey, not mine. You show that you're detached, and they'll be like, yeah, I get it. It makes sense. So they'll comply. And then from there, I'm going to go and cool. And do you know ballpark your credit score? I just say it like that as a softener. Do you know ballpark your credit score? Because usually if they do know it, they go, oh, no, I know my credit score. It's blank. Or they go, yeah, I think it's around. They'll kind of hem and haw a bit. They'll tell you where it is. If they don't sound too sure, you might want to have them pull it up on Experian. You could ask them when was the last time they checked their credit score. If they're really tech challenged, this might be really slow to have them pull it up. So then what I do is I straight up just go, okay, no worries. And so like, it's not really totally necessary, but what sort of credit cards are you using currently? You'll find out real quick what their financial picture. If they tell you Amex and all these different like high quality cards, and then I basically want to figure out what cards they have, what are the limits on the cards, what are the balances on the cards. I'll ask these things. And I'll be taking notes to paint together a financial picture of how much credit available do they have, what's their credit score, what's their cash on hand. Genuinely, because for a lot of these people, the best solution, if possible, would be to get a 0% interest line of credit and to purchase it, or to use cash, maybe do a down payment with cash, finance the rest. Like a lot of people aren't going to want to pay this on cash if they can avoid it, right? So once we have that full picture of their finances, then we can move into presenting a solution or close, or just, next steps, depending on what makes sense. There's usually 3 cases that this boils down to. 1, they are financially qualified. They can close right now. So, okay, John, can I tell you what I would do in a case like that? Can I or can I share what my other students have done in a case like this? And then I'm going to make a suggestion. If they just have the full credit available and they're doing well financially, I'd be like, honestly, I would just slap it on the credit card, get the points, and then pay it off over some time. And I would just shut up. Right. So basically, and then we'll see if they comply, and we can figure out different options. But if you know their cash, you know that we can at least do a down payment. We can look at different ways of doing it. Case 2 is they are financially qualified, but maybe their cash on hand is really tight. They have a high credit score. Maybe their cards are kind of maxed out. They might need to go get a loan from a credit union or like a local bank. One other option is to do what's called a deposit close, where we do anywhere from $500 to $1,000 down. And we don't frame this as it's there to secure their spot in the program. That typically is a little bit salesy. Instead, we basically say, okay, so John, can I make a suggestion in this case? This is based off what we heard with their financial picture. Well, what a lot of my other students have done is typically we would just put down like a small deposit. And what this allows us to do is to start to set up your account on our end. And then I can connect you with some ideas of places where you could get the funding. So that way we could actually get you through and get you financed, right? And in worst case, heaven forbid, they can't get you funded. I really don't think that's going to be an issue. Then obviously it would be a refundable deposit. So that way I can at least get your account going, send you over some initial resources, and we can figure out the logistics. Does that sound good? Usually they're going to comply because you're offering to give them something in return. Where it goes wrong with a deposit close is if you just ask for a deposit with no perceived value or exchange, and no real reason why you're asking for it. Otherwise, they're like, well, it doesn't benefit me. Like, what am I getting out of it, right? Last case, they might not have the finance. You might find that they have like a 450 credit score and $1,000, $1K to their name. This person cannot buy your program. So what do we do? Okay, John, appreciate you being real with me. I got some thoughts. Can I share a potential next step? They go, yeah, what I would love to do is get you like a roadmap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you over an email that has some next steps. And that way you can start to get some quick wins and learn more about XYZ, whatever it is that you train on. And we can stay in touch and really help you get some wins over the road. Does that sound good? Because right now it sounds like there's really no world that exists currently where the finances would be appropriate. So is it cool if we get you some free resources as a starting point? They'll usually say, thank you so much. That's really generous. And you guys can part ways as friends. And if they come back around, you haven't, made them felt dumb. You haven't made them feel lesser. And so they're still open to connect with you. A lot of these people, most of them won't come around, but some of them will. So you want to keep the door open. Now, here are some resources that will help you a ton. And what these are is if someone wants a 0% interest line of credit, we want to be able to get it approved then and there and get card numbers. So this is the absolute best one, American Express Blue Cash. So I'll pull this up. There are 2 cards here, Blue Cash Everyday, Blue Cash Preferred. I usually use Blue Cash Everyday. People apply now. They'll go through the application. Ideally, you have them fill this out on a computer. And you want to tell them, hey, have a pen and piece of paper ready. Because if they get you accepted, what they're going to do is they're actually going to give you the card number. So they'll be able to get the card number and the card limit right away if they do get approved. That's 95% of the time. There's a 5% chance they get approved and it still gets mailed. Very unlikely. So what you're going to want to do is have them fill this out. Let them know there's no risk to you. It's a soft credit hit. So if they deny you, it doesn't hurt your credit to check. So that offsets the risk. And essentially they're willing to go for it. This is my number one choice usually. A lot of people, like a lot of times, what I want to avoid though is, let's say they have a credit limit on, one of their cards where they could do it. I would at least do some sort of like down payment, ideally, maybe first. Get something in like as a starting point, figure out, hey, what do you feel would be appropriate as a down payment? And then we can finance the rest, right? Because it's like, obviously, if you can avoid it, it's best to not just finance the whole thing. So that's framed in their best interest. That way you can get a commitment on the call. Because one of the risks of using Amex or PayPal is maybe they apply, it gets denied. Maybe they apply, logistics don't work out with the tech and it takes time. And then, their card takes a week to get there and now they're no longer emotionally invested. They overthink it and they talk themselves out of it instead of taking action. So if we can get a commitment on the call, great. Even if that's a deposit and getting them resources, $500 deposit, I would still suggest it. So this should be a really good starting point for you guys on how to unpack people's financial picture. And then I will add more resources to this doc over time that I see as appropriate. A lot of times, if people have a relationship with their local credit union, I'll get them to do a $500 down payment and they'll go to their credit union and get a personal loan for the balance. And that's usually better interest rates than like Wells Fargo or Chase or one of these big banks. And oftentimes these people have been with the local credit union for a long time, so they have some relationship built with the banker and they have a higher probability of getting approved. So that is the open wallet. All right, guys. Peace.
I've been getting dirty money, Jordan Belfort, stacking penny stocks.